Thank you for watching Morning in the Mountains on Mountain Fun Life. Frank Murphy here, getting to speak with a dear friend about the fine arts. Let's welcome Kathryn Frady, who is Executive Director of Marble City Opera. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
I meant to tell you before we started that I occasionally listen to Kevin Doherty, who started Marble City Opera with you many years ago.
That's right.
And he's now a classical DJ in Sacramento.
That's right.
Sometimes I listen to him online while I'm driving here to the
studio.
Oh,
how funny. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. He helped me co-found the company in 2013 and was with us for 1 year. Yeah.
He left, so it's all you.
It's all me, and I was fortunate for the first 3 years, I guess, after he left. It was all on my own.
Yeah.
And then I was able to convince Brandon Gibson to come on and help me a little bit. So
that was an outstanding segue, because Brandon Gibson, who is a fantastic singer in his own right, and sings all over East Tennessee in so many different productions. I mean, as a soloist, I've seen him sing at a Christmas tree lighting. He's always the go-to guy when you need that big bass or baritone, what would you call him?
Baritone.
Baritone voice to fill a space. So he's been working with you at Marble City, and he and I are in contact quite often about the upcoming productions, because he says, hey, we've got a new thing, we want to get some publicity, blah, 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 so I get the press releases, which is how I know that Shadowlight is coming up at the end of February.
That's right. And Shadowlight is a world premiere that we're doing as part of the Delaney Project of Knoxville. And the project actually came to me a few years ago by a woman who's helping out with the Delaney Project and really foreseeing everything that's happening.
So let me back up 2 steps and explain that Buford Delaney is an African-American artist from East Tennessee, from Knoxville specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And what era was this? The 20s, 30s, 40s, somewhere in there?
He was born in 1901.
Oh, wow. So he was an artist in the probably teens, 20s, 30s.
Yeah, the 30s and 40s was when he was in New York and during the Harlem Renaissance.
So he, as an African-American artist from East Tennessee, he finds a way to move to New York and befriends James Baldwin, the famous writer.
That's right.
And the two of them help each other navigate this difficult world of being African-American and an artist or a writer in that time of period in history.
Absolutely. And actually Baldwin considered Buford one of his mentors.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I would have thought the other way around, but that's really fantastic. Yeah. So this opera was written, Shadowlight, was written about Buford Delaney.
That's right.
And Brandon Gibson, who we just mentioned, gets to play
Buford Delaney.
Buford Delaney. Yeah. Now, there's other Buford Delaney things happening in and around Knoxville at the Museum of Art, for example.
That's right.
And you said it's called
the University of Tennessee and the library, and it's called the Delaney Project, and it's why this opera has come to be.
So it's literally a world premiere. You said you heard about it a few years ago. The timing is now just perfect. It's the last 2 days of Black History Month.
That's right.
It also happens to be leap year, so you get an extra day.
Which is always good.
So February 28th and 29th at the Beck Cultural Center in Knoxville.
That's right.
All right, tell me a little bit about the opera, though, because, obviously I described who the characters are, but what's the plot?
Well, Buford actually suffered from schizophrenia. He had these voices that would tell him horrible things about himself. His younger brother was also a painter, and so sometimes the voices would tell Buford that he wasn't as good as his brother, and they would just feed this negativity.
But it can feed great art.
Which is exactly what it did, because the only way he could keep the voices at bay was by painting.
Wow.
So the reason why we ended up going with the title Shadowlight is because out of the darkness that he was experiencing in his own life brought light into the world through his paintings.
Wow, that's beautiful. And we've got MarbleCityOpera.com behind us, and this is the page. When you go to Shadowlight, you'll see this smear of paint. That is what you click on to get tickets for Shadowlight, February 28th and 29th. But I also know that you've got another big show coming at the end of the season. I want you to come back and talk about it, but right now, tell me about Pagliacci, when and where.
I Pagliacci is going to be happening at the World's Fair Tennessee Amphitheater.
Yeah, the outdoor tenty thing.
Yes, and
wow.
So it'll be a site-specific kind of production. Pagliacci happens when a bunch of clowns come into town and put up a show for the audience, and so we're actually going to drive in a truck.
Clown car?
In a truck, and all pile out, set up our scenery, and the chorus actually becomes part of the audience.
That's really neat. Yeah. All right, that's the beginning of June, end of May, beginning of June.
29th and 30th.
All right, so right after Memorial Day. So you'll come back and talk about that.
Absolutely.
But right now we want you to catch Shadowlight February 28th and 29th at the Beck Cultural Center. Tickets and information at marblecityopera.com.
That's right.
Kathryn Frady, Executive Director of Marble City Opera, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here, and you're invited back anytime. You're watching Morning in the Mountains on Mountain Fun Life. More of the show right after this.